The message came on a Tuesday. It burst through NASA's radio telescopes like a river breaking through a dam. At first, Dr. Alan Wright thought it was a mistake. He checked his equipment twice. He ran the numbers again. Then he called his boss. "Sir, I think you need to see this." Within hours, every major government knew. Within days, so did the world. Aliens had made contact. The message was clear. The Galactic Concordat, a union of 7 advanced alien species, had noticed Earth. They wanted to welcome humans into their community among the stars. They said they came in peace. Some people celebrated in the streets. Others hid in fear. Most just watched their screens, wondering what this meant for the future of humanity. In New York, the United Nations called an emergency meeting. Leaders from every country argued about what to do. Some wanted to send our best weapons into space. Others wanted to welcome the aliens with open arms. "We need someone who understands both diplomacy and human nature," said the Secretary General. "Someone who can protect Earth's interests without starting a war." That someone was Samantha Cole. She wasn't famous. She wasn't loud. But she had ended 3 wars through words alone. She understood how power worked. She knew how to talk to those who thought they were better than you. When they called her, she was teaching at a small college. "Ambassador Cole," they said, "humanity needs you." She packed a single bag and flew to Washington. The team they built around her was small but mighty. Captain John Miller had served in every major conflict zone on Earth. His eyes missed nothing, and his mind was always 3 steps ahead. Dr. Olivia Martinez could learn a new language in weeks. She had already started working on the alien transmission, finding patterns others had missed. Greg Peterson had studied every human culture from the Amazon to the Arctic. He could spot the difference between a friendly gesture and a threat across any cultural divide. "They want us to think they're doing us a favor," Cole told her team as they reviewed the alien message. "Notice how they call themselves a Concordat. That's an agreement between powers, usually with one side holding most of the cards." "The message has military precision," Captain Miller pointed out. "These coordinates, these timing patterns, they're too exact for civilians." Dr. Martinez nodded. "And there's something else. When translated properly, they don't invite us to join as equals. They invite us to find our place, like a pet being shown its corner." In the White House, the president paced. What if this is the end of human independence? What if they want our resources, our water, our land? Cole stood firm. "Then we need to know that now, not after we've shown them our throats." The debate lasted 3 days. In the end, Ambassador Cole stood before the United Nations with a simple plan. Respond peacefully but cautiously. Send a small team. Learn the truth. Humanity has faced crossroads before, she told the worried faces of world leaders. When strangers arrived on new shores throughout our history, the outcome depended not just on their intentions, but on how we responded. We will be respectful, curious, and open to friendship, but we will not be naive. They gave her full authority. Earth would speak with one voice, and that voice would be Cole's. The aliens sent coordinates for a meeting point near Alpha Centauri. Earth's newest ship, the U.S. Vanguard, was prepared for the journey. As Ambassador Cole and her team boarded, millions watched around the world. "Do you think they really come in peace?" a reporter shouted as Cole walked up the ramp. She turned, her face calm, but her eyes sharp. "I think peace has many definitions. Our job is to make sure theirs matches ours." The ship's doors closed. Humanity held its breath. The greatest diplomatic mission in human history had begun. The U.S. Vanguard left Earth's orbit with little fanfare. A flash of blue light, and then it was gone, carrying humanity's future with it. Inside, Ambassador Samantha Cole looked out at the endless darkness of space and wondered if she had made the right choice. 3 months to Centauri Prime, Captain Miller said as he floated into the observation deck. "That's how long we have to prepare." Cole nodded. "Then we better not waste a minute." The Concordat had sent a guide ship to escort them. It was beautiful, with smooth lines that seemed to bend light around it. It was also 10 times the size of the Vanguard, and bristling with what looked like weapons ports. "They're scanning us," Miller reported 1 week into the journey. "Constantly. Deep scans that go through our hull like it's made of paper." Cole wasn't surprised. "Let them look. We brought nothing to hide." Each day, the team studied what little they knew about the 7 alien species that made up the Galactic Concordat. Dr. Martinez created diagrams on the ship's main screen. "The Draviks appear to be the military force," she explained. "Their language is full of dominance markers and territory claims. The Zolaric control trade routes and resources. The Illuvi have some form of mental abilities, possibly telepathy. The Morkai function as a hive mind, sharing thoughts across their entire species." Greg Peterson pointed to the remaining images. "The Valorians are the oldest, with references suggesting they've been spacefaring for 50,000 years. The Quinar developed most of their technology. And the Shadewalkers, we know almost nothing about them." Ambassador Cole absorbed it all. At night, she read Earth's history of first contacts between cultures, Europeans meeting Native Americans, colonial powers negotiating with kingdoms around the world, modern diplomatic breakthroughs between enemy nations. The pattern was always the same. The side that believed itself superior rarely offered fair terms. "They've done this before," she told her team during their daily meeting. "These 7 species aren't offering membership out of kindness. They're following a pattern." Captain Miller had been analyzing the escort ship's movement. "They change course exactly every 4 hours, always maintaining the same relative position to us. It's a standard patrol formation. They're treating us like a prisoner transport." On the 60th day of their journey, Dr. Martinez made a discovery. She burst into Cole's quarters, her eyes wide. "I've been analyzing the language patterns in their messages," she said. "There are subtle threats embedded in their grammar structure. When they say, 'Welcome you to find your place,' the syntax implies a place will be assigned to us. When they mention sharing the benefits of the Concordat, they use a form that suggests one-way transfer." Cole wasn't shocked. "They see us as children, or pets." The closer they got to Centauri Prime, the more they learned. The escort ship occasionally broadcasted messages back home, and Dr. Martinez captured fragments. They spoke of the human situation and integration protocols. On the final day of their journey, Ambassador Cole gathered her team. "We know 3 things for certain," she said calmly. "First, the Concordat is not united. They have internal conflicts they try to hide. Second, they want something from Earth and believe we're too primitive to resist. Third, they've underestimated us completely." Captain Miller frowned. "They're technologically superior in every way." Cole smiled. "So were many empires throughout human history. Yet smaller nations with fewer resources have prevailed through strategy and willpower. We don't need to match their ships or weapons. We just need to understand what they want, what they fear, and how they think." As the massive space station appeared in their viewports, glowing like a small sun against the darkness, Greg Peterson whispered, "My God, it's huge." Ambassador Cole straightened her uniform. "Remember, everyone, we're not just individuals anymore. We're humanity's first impression. Let's show them exactly what they expect to see. For now." The Vanguard docked at Centauri Prime. The door opened. Humanity's greatest diplomatic challenge had begun. Centauri Prime was not a planet but a massive space station, its curved walls shimmering with lights that looked like stars. As Ambassador Cole and her team stepped through the airlock, the gravity felt slightly stronger than Earth's. The air smelled clean but strange, with hints of something like cinnamon. 7 aliens waited for them, each clearly from a different species. They stood in a half circle, their postures stiff and formal. Some had too many limbs. Others had skin that seemed to shift colors. One appeared to be made partly of light. The tallest one stepped forward. Its skin was pale blue with markings that looked like writing. "I am Zex Terrell of the Valorians. chief negotiator of the Concordat. We welcome humanity's representatives. Cole bowed slightly. Thank you for your invitation. We are honored to be here. As she spoke, she noticed how the aliens looked at each other. Their expressions were different from human faces, but she could still see it. The small glances that said, "Look how primitive they are." A guide led them to their quarters, a set of rooms with strange furniture and walls that changed color. As soon as they were alone, Captain Miller took out a small device and swept the room. "At least 15 different monitoring systems," he whispered. "Audio, visual, even biological sensors tracking our heart rates and breathing." Cole nodded. She had expected this. She wrote on a tablet, "Aki to normal. TAYFRE watching." The first formal meeting came the next day. The team sat at a large table across from all 7 representatives. Zex Terrell spoke with words that sounded kind but weren't. "Humanity has achieved much in its short history," the Valorian said. "Your people have only recently discovered electricity, yet already you've reached nearby space. The Concordat wishes to help guide your species to maturity." Dr. Martinez caught the subtle insult in the translation. "Recently to them meant the last 1,000 years. Zex Terrell continued, "We offer Earth-protected status. Your territory will include your solar system. You will provide the Concordat with reasonable resource tributes. Your military will serve under Concordat command for peacekeeping. In return, we will share some of our technologies and knowledge." Cole kept her face calm, but inside she understood completely. This wasn't an alliance. It was a surrender document. "We are grateful for your generous offer," she said carefully. "May we have time to discuss the details?" The aliens seemed pleased by her meek response. They had expected resistance or naive excitement. Her calm acceptance confused them. Back in their quarters, the team spoke in whispers, while music played to mask their voices. "They want Earth as a client state," Cole said. "We give everything. They give almost nothing." Greg Peterson had been watching the aliens closely. "They don't trust each other." The Dravik's representative keeps positioning himself to see the others. "The Zolari won't look directly at the Valorians. There's tension we can use." That night, Cole couldn't sleep. She walked to the window of their quarters and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, small and blue and alone. She remembered her history books, how powerful empires always offered protection to smaller nations, protection that turned into control. The next morning, a servant brought them food. The creature had 6 legs and sad eyes. When it thought no one was looking, it made a small gesture to Cole, a hand pressed to its heart. "They have servants," Cole told her team later. "Maybe even slaves. We need to learn more about how the Concordat treats other species." Captain Miller had mapped the station's public areas. "There are other aliens here. One's not part of the 7. They clear paths when Concordat members walk by. They keep their eyes down." Over the next 3 days, they attended more meetings. Each time, the terms got slightly worse for Earth. Each time, Cole appeared to consider them seriously. On the 4th day, Zex Terrell looked frustrated. "Ambassador Cole, we have been most patient. The terms we offer are standard for species at your development stage. Do you accept the Concordat's generous protection?" Cole smiled for the first time since arriving. "Before we answer, we have a few questions about these standard terms." The diplomatic dance had begun, and Cole was about to change the music. The grand meeting hall fell silent as Ambassador Cole walked to the center of the room. All 7 Concordat representatives watched her with what seemed like boredom. They had done this many times before with other species. They expected begging, or anger, or fear. They did not expect what came next. "Before we discuss your terms further," Cole said clearly, "I believe we should be completely honest with each other." Zex Terrell's skin rippled with blue patterns. "We have been nothing but truthful, Ambassador." Cole smiled. "Then let me match your honesty with our own. Humanity is technologically inferior to the Concordat in every way. Our fastest ships are like children's toys compared to yours. Our weapons would barely scratch your smallest vessels. Our medicine, our energy production, our manufacturing, all primitive by your standards. The aliens looked at each other, confused by this admission. However, Cole continued, I think you may have misunderstood something important about humans. She activated a small device. Images appeared in the air. Earth's history in pictures. Soldiers in ancient battles. Modern warfare. Cities burning. Humans have spent most of our history fighting each other. When we weren't fighting, we were preparing to fight. We nearly destroyed ourselves several times. The Drevik's representative leaned forward, suddenly interested. The warrior species recognized something familiar. 75 years ago, we developed weapons that could destroy our entire planet. We built thousands of them, aimed at each other. We called it mutually assured destruction. For decades, we lived knowing that any day might be our last. Yet we survived. Captain Miller stepped forward. What Ambassador Cole is too polite to say is that humans are very, very good at war. Not because our weapons are advanced, but because we are creative when threatened. Cole nodded. We adapt quickly. We learn from our enemies. When faced with a stronger opponent, we change the rules. Earth has seen many empires rise and fall. The strongest military doesn't always win. She walked slowly around the table, making eye contact with each alien representative. You offer us protection we don't need in exchange for our freedom. You ask for resources you could take by force, yet you don't. Why? She paused. Because invasion is costly. Because even primitive species can cause damage when fighting for their homes. The room was completely silent now. The Illuvi representative's eyes had grown wide, the telepathic alien perhaps sensing the absolute conviction behind Cole's words. The terms you offer are what you give to a pet, not a partner. So let me be clear about what humanity wants. Cole's voice remained calm but firm. We want fair trade, not tribute. We want cultural exchange, not submission. We want to learn from you as equals, not serve as your workers. Zex Terrell stood suddenly. This is not how these negotiations proceed. You have no leverage, Ambassador. Your planet is alone and vulnerable. Cole didn't flinch. Is it? Your scans of our ship were thorough, but did you scan our planet? Did you monitor our communications? Do you know what preparations we've made since receiving your message? This was a bluff, but the aliens couldn't know that. Seeds of doubt appeared on their faces. We came here ready to join a community of worlds, Cole said more softly. Are you offering that? Or are you offering a pretty cage? The Zolari representative, a creature with golden skin and 4 arms, spoke for the first time. What if we simply take what we want from Earth? Your defenses are indeed weak. Greg Peterson stepped forward. Then you should study what happens when humans face extinction. We become unpredictable. Dr. Martinez added, and really creative about causing problems. Cole held up her hand. But that would be unfortunate for everyone. We prefer friendship to conflict. We prefer trade to tribute. We prefer to be valuable allies rather than reluctant servants. She smiled at the 7 representatives. Shall we start these discussions again? This time as potential friends. The Concordat members looked at each other. For the first time since the humans had arrived, they seemed uncertain. The next day, Ambassador Cole did something unexpected. Instead of meeting with all 7 Concordat species together, she requested private meetings with each one. This was not how things were usually done, but after her bold speech, the aliens were curious enough to agree. She met with the Zolari first, in a small room with views of distant stars. The golden-skinned merchant alien sat across from her, its 4 arms folded in different patterns. Your speech was unusual, Ambassador, the Zolari said. Most species beg for better terms. None admit weakness so openly. Cole smiled. Humans value honesty. We also value good business. I understand the Zolari control most trade routes in this sector. The alien's eyes widened slightly. We manage certain economic interests. Earth has resources you've never seen before, Cole said, showing images of rare Earth materials. We also have art, music, and food unique in the galaxy. Exclusive trade rights would be quite valuable, I imagine. The Zolari leaned forward. The Concordat shares all resources. Of course, Cole said. But surely some trading partners receive priority access. When the Zolari left 2 hours later, it was deep in thought. Cole had planted a seed. The idea that humans might be valuable trade partners rather than mere tribute payers. Next came the Dreviks, tall, muscular aliens with tough gray skin and eyes that never stopped moving. Their representative carried weapons openly. Your species fights well, the Dreviks asked bluntly. Captain Miller stepped forward. We've mastered every environment on our planet. Deserts, mountains, oceans, frozen wastelands. We've developed thousands of fighting styles. When outmatched, we use the environment against our enemies. He showed the Dreviks historical battles where smaller human forces defeated larger ones through strategy, deception, and using terrain to their advantage. The warrior alien watched with growing interest. Your weapons are simple, but your tactics. The Dreviks made a sound like grinding stones, apparently approval. Most young species rely only on technology. They forget the art of war. By the time the meeting ended, the Dreviks was looking at the humans with something close to respect. Later, Cole met with the Illuvi, the telepathic species with large pearl-colored eyes and delicate features. Your minds are noisy, the Illuvi said softly. So many contradictions. You think of peace but prepare for war. You feel fear but act brave. You know you are small yet behave as equals. Dr. Martinez spoke gently. Humans contain multitudes. Our emotions give us strength. Our contradictions make us adaptable. Most species we encounter have simpler minds. The Illuvi admitted. They are easier to guide. Cole understood the implied threat. And yet complex minds can be more valuable allies, can they not? Seeing problems from multiple perspectives has advantages. The Illuvi tilted its head, considering this idea. Between meetings, the human team gathered information. Greg Peterson made friends with station workers from smaller species. He learned that dozens of civilizations paid tribute to the Concordat. None had seats on the council. They're not a community, he told Cole. They're an empire, with the 7 species at the top and everyone else below. Dr. Martinez discovered more by analyzing station communications. There's tension between the Valorians and the Quinar over technology sharing. And the Dreviks want to expand military operations into new territories, but the others are hesitating. Cole nodded. Every empire has cracks. We just need to find the right ones to push on. That night, as the team prepared for the next day's meetings, an alarm blared through the station. Red lights flashed in their quarters. Captain Miller checked the security feeds. Armed Dreviks are heading this way. A lot of them. Cole took a deep breath. It seems someone doesn't like our private discussions. What do we do? Dr. Martinez asked, fear evident in her voice. Cole straightened her uniform. We stay calm. We expected this might happen. Remember our contingency plans. She looked at each team member. They think we're helpless without weapons. Let's show them how dangerous unarmed humans can be. The door to their quarters slid open. Dravik soldiers filled the entrance, weapons raised. The Dravik soldiers filled the doorway, weapons pointed at the human delegation. Their leader stepped forward, a tall figure with battle scars across his gray skin. The humans will come with us, he growled. Your meetings end now. Ambassador Cole stood perfectly still. May I ask why? We were invited here to negotiate. Negotiations have changed, the Dravik's leader said. The Concordat has decided your planet requires direct supervision. You will provide coordinates for Earth's defenses. Captain Miller moved slightly, positioning himself between the soldiers and the rest of the team. Cole gave him a small nod. I see, she said calmly. And which members of the Concordat made this decision? The Dreviks hesitated. That is not your concern. Cole smiled. So not all of them, then. Just the Dreviks. The others don't know you're here. Anger flashed in the alien's eyes. Enough talking. You will come now, or we will take you by force. As the soldiers moved forward, the lights in the hallway suddenly went out. In the darkness, something small and round rolled across the floor. A blinding flash filled the room, followed by thick smoke. Captain Miller had planned for this. The team had hidden small devices in their clothing. Flash grenades and smoke bombs made from materials found on the station. In the confusion, Miller grabbed Cole and pulled her toward the emergency exit they had discovered earlier. Dr. Martins and Greg Peterson followed, all four humans slipping into a maintenance tunnel as the Dravik soldiers stumbled blind in the smoke. The U.S. Vanguard, Cole whispered as they crawled through the narrow passage. Can we reach it? Miller shook his head. They've got it locked down. I checked the docking bay cameras earlier. But there's something else we can do. The maintenance tunnel led them to a communication hub. Small alien workers scattered as the humans burst in. Dr. Martins moved quickly to the main console. I've been studying their systems, she said, her fingers flying over the strange controls. If I can access the main broadcast channel. Alarms blared throughout the station. The humans had minutes at most before they would be found. Got it, Martins said triumphantly. We're connected to all public channels on the station. Cole stepped up to the console. Her face appeared on screens throughout Centauri Prime as she began to speak. People of the Concordat, this is Ambassador Cole of Earth. The Draviks have broken diplomatic protocol and attempted to take us prisoner. They act without the knowledge of the other council members. This is not the action of a unified alliance, but of a faction seeking to control our planet. In the council chambers, the other 6 species watched in shock as Cole's message played. The Valorian representative turned to the empty Dravik's seat, anger rippling across his blue skin. Meanwhile, Greg Peterson had been working on a different task. During their time on the station, he had made contact with workers from smaller species, those who served the Concordat, but had no voice in it. Now he sent them a different message through worker communication channels. The humans resist the Concordat's control, the message said. They seek fair treatment for all species. Watch what happens. The Dravik soldiers found the communication hub empty. The humans had vanished again, moving through service corridors, with help from station workers who suddenly found reasons to look the other way. In an unused storage room, the team regrouped. We've created confusion, Cole said. Now we need to reach the council chamber directly. The Draviks have shown their hand too early. We'll never make it, Miller said. The soldiers are searching everywhere. A soft sound came from the wall. A panel slid open, revealing a small alien with 6 arms and large eyes. This way, it whispered. Others like me will help. We have watched you stand up to them. No one has done that before. Cole looked at her team. It seems we've found allies. More alarms blared as they followed their new guide through hidden passages. The Concordat was in chaos, its unity broken. Now the humans had to take advantage of the confusion they had created before the 7 species could reunite against them. The council chamber doors burst open. All 6 remaining Concordat members turned in surprise as Ambassador Cole walked in, followed by her team. They were surrounded by small aliens of various species, workers, servants, and messengers who had helped them navigate the secret pathways of the station. This meeting is closed to humans, Sex Terrell said, standing up. His blue skin darkened with anger. Is it? Cole asked calmly. I believe we were discussing Earth's future. We should be present for that. The Zolari representative raised all 4 hands. The Draviks acted without council approval. We did not authorize force against your delegation. Yet you did nothing to stop it, Captain Miller said. Before anyone could respond, the doors opened again. The Dravik's leader marched in, flanked by armed soldiers. He stopped when he saw the humans already there. "The primitives have violated security protocols," he growled. "They must be contained." Cole stepped forward. "Actually, we have something to share with the Council." She nodded to Dr. Martinez, who activated a small device. A hologram appeared in the center of the room, a three-dimensional image of Earth, but not alone. Surrounding it were hundreds of small objects. "What is this?" the Valorian demanded. "While you've been scanning us and planning how to control Earth," Cole said, "we've been busy too. This is a live feed from our solar system, transmitted by our second ship." There was no second ship. The image was created from old Earth defense data, modified by Dr. Martinez to look like a current transmission. But the aliens couldn't know that. "You sent another vessel?" the Quinar asked, its metallic features showing surprise. Cole nodded. "A precaution. The U.S. Vigilant has been observing everything, recording everything, including your plans to strip Earth's resources and reduce humans to servitude." Greg Peterson stepped forward. "We've also been documenting how the Concordat treats other species." He gestured to the workers who had helped them. "These people have stories to tell, stories about exploitation, not partnership." The chamber grew tense. The 7 species looked at each other with suspicion. "Here is our offer," Cole said firmly. "Earth will consider fair and equal alliance terms only. No tributes, no military control. We want genuine trade, cultural exchange, and mutual defense." The Drevix leader snarled. "You have no power to make demands." "Don't we?" Cole asked. She turned to the hologram and spoke clearly. "Captain Lane, initiate Protocol Omega." Nothing happened, of course. There was no Captain Lane, no Protocol Omega. But the aliens tensed, waiting for some terrible human weapon to activate. "Wait," Cole said, holding up her hand as if stopping the imaginary captain. "Let me finish speaking with the Council first." She turned back to the 7 representatives. "If the Concordat chooses war with Earth, we are prepared. Our second ship has already transmitted everything we've learned about your technology, your politics, and your weaknesses to Earth." "You would lose," the Dravix insisted. "Eventually, yes," Miller agreed. "But at what cost? How many ships would Earth destroy first? How many resources would you waste? And while you're busy with us, what would happen here?" He gestured to the servant aliens. "How many other species might get ideas?" The Valorian and Quinar exchanged looks. The Zolari's golden skin paled slightly. "However," Cole continued, "if the Concordat wants genuine friendship with Earth, we offer something valuable. A new perspective. Humans solve problems differently than you do. We could be helpful allies against real threats." The Illuvi spoke, its voice soft. "The humans speak truth. Their minds show no deception about wanting peace, only determination to protect their freedom." Cole stepped to the center of the room. "The choice is yours. A costly war against a species that will never surrender, or a new kind of relationship, one based on mutual respect." The council members looked at each other. Centuries of doing things one way battled with the new reality these strange humans had created. Finally, the Valorian spoke. "We will consider your proposal, Ambassador Cole." It wasn't victory yet, but it was a beginning. 3 days passed while the Concordat debated. The human team remained in their quarters, no longer prisoners but not yet partners. Station workers brought them food and whispered news of the fierce arguments among the 7 species. On the 4th day, they were summoned back to the council chamber. All 7 representatives sat at the table, their postures revealing the strain of their internal conflicts. "We have reached a decision," Zex Terrell announced. His voice sounded tired. "The Concordat will not pursue standard integration protocols with Earth." Cole kept her face neutral, though inside she felt a surge of relief. Standard integration meant conquest by another name. The Valorian continued. 4 of our 7 species wish to establish individual treaties with humanity on terms of mutual respect. The others will maintain a position of non-interference. It was more than Cole had hoped for. The unified front had broken completely. Earth would welcome such treaties, she said. May I ask which species have chosen this path? The Zolari representative raised two of its four hands. We see potential in trade with humans. Your creativity could bring new goods to the galaxy. The Quinar, with its gleaming metallic skin, spoke next. Your approach to problem-solving is unusual. This has value. The Illuvi nodded. Your complex minds offer perspectives we have not considered. To everyone's surprise, the Morkai hive mind representative, who had rarely spoken, added, your individuality within collective action is worth studying. The Dravix leader remained silent, his posture rigid with controlled anger. The Valorians and the mysterious Shapewalkers also withheld their support, but they no longer opposed the others. Cole stepped forward. Before we formalize these new relationships, Earth has one condition. We propose a galactic charter of sentient rights, guaranteeing basic freedoms to all intelligent species, regardless of technological development. The council members shifted uncomfortably. The internal affairs of the Concordat, Zex Terrell began, are now of interest to humanity. Cole interrupted gently. Any lasting alliance must include ethical treatment of all sentient beings. The servant aliens along the wall stood straighter. For the first time, the council members seemed to really see them. After more debate, the Concordat fractured officially. 4 species signed treaties with Earth. The Dravix threatened war, but backed down when 3 formerly subjugated species aligned themselves with humanity, their representatives standing proudly beside Cole. On the day the human delegation prepared to return home, Zex Terrell approached Cole privately. You have changed everything, the Valorian said. 10,000 years of Concordat tradition, undone in weeks. Cole shook her head. Not undone. Evolved. Change was already coming. We just provided the catalyst. The Valorian's skin rippled with complex patterns. Other species will request human ambassadors now. They see what you've accomplished. Earth will send them, Cole promised. The journey home aboard the U.S. Vanguard was quieter than their outbound trip. The team spent hours preparing reports about everything they had learned. Do you think we did the right thing? Dr. Martinez asked one night as they looked out at the stars. Breaking up the Concordat. Cole considered this. We didn't break anything that wasn't already cracked. The strong were exploiting the weak, calling it protection. We just showed there was another way. As Earth appeared in their viewports, blue and beautiful, Captain Miller smiled. They never understood why we didn't beg for better terms. They thought we had some secret weapon. We did, Cole said. Humanity's greatest weapon has always been our ability to change the rules when we're outmatched. Throughout history, we've turned disadvantages into strengths. When they landed, cheering crowds greeted them. World leaders hailed the diplomatic victory. No tributes would be paid. No military control surrendered. Instead, Earth had gained allies, trade partners, and a voice in galactic affairs. In a distant corner of the galaxy, 2 alien observers watched recordings of the human delegation's return. Remarkable, one said. No species has ever dominated galactic politics through pure diplomacy before. Should we be concerned? Asked the other. Perhaps, but I'm more curious to see what they do next. The humans are sending ambassadors to the outer systems. The observers' many eyes blinked in sequence. They come in peace, they say. Yes, the first agreed. And empires are already begging for mercy.